Which now brings me to another spot in our ceremony, and that is some visual demonstration that I thought may be illustrative of an enjoyable and exciting Saturday afternoon. We have with us today several items. You notice we have a dry erase board. I hope it's visible to all present. Can you see it even to my left, which is your right? I hope it's visible to my right, your left. I believe some of you here today have even written some things down or thought of some things. You have some objects with you. We will utilize those as well. And I wanted to hand out a magazine or two, if I might, also. I will speak loudly now without the microphone. How am I doing? Is this all right? Great, great. I brought 3 magazines today, and I'm going to ask, if I might, may I ask you please just to point to any 2 magazines? Okay, this one and this one? Very good. That leaves this one here. So if I may I hand you this magazine? Very good. We have these 2. And now I will ask, would you please point to either one of these? Very good. And now I will ask, would you please, in a moment, say stop? Very good. You stopped me on page 51. So now I'm going to ask, if you will, please turn to page 51 in your magazine. I am not looking toward you because I don't want you to think I'm looking at your magazine. When you turn to page 51, those around you may also look at the page. I'm going to ask you, if you will, please, to look at the page, and then, if you will, to just scan through the page. There should be printing on the page. Yes? Okay, there may even be a photograph or 2, but I want you, please, just to look at the photograph, then look through the printing. I'm going to ask you to silently select a word. I'm going to ask you to please silently select the biggest word, the longest word, the most letters, the most syllables, because that will make this the most impressive. So I want you please to silently select that long word, and then I'm going to ask you please to show that word to colleagues next to you. And then I will have you look at the page again. See if there's any big, bold print on the page as well. Tuck that away, and then I'll have you close the magazine, and I will recover it from you. May I turn?
Yes.
Very good. You have a word. You all remember what a page looks like. Very good. I had asked someone to think of a year, and you did, and you wrote a year down on a piece of paper, yes? And I asked someone to think of a date, a month and a day, and you just thought of a month and a day, am I right? Very good. Now, I don't want you to tell us your year. And you may announce the year and the day. You may announce the month and the day if you want. You don't need to. Okay? We'll have you maybe do that in a moment. I'm going to use a deck of cards. I will remove the jokers. I will shuffle the deck. Would you agree that these cards are almost as mixed up? Very good. Bless you. I heard someone sneeze. And now, what I will do, I want to get everyone included as best I can. I will come to here, and I'm going to ask you please just to say stop at any time. Very good. I'm going to have you please move the card. Would you stop me? Don't look at it. Just set it face down on the table. You could have had any card. That was the card you selected at random. Is that correct? Yes. Very good. We have a card. We have a month and a day. We have a year. And we have a word from a magazine. And also have a board with numbers 1 to 16 on it. Is that correct? And I'm going to ask if I might. I have a marker. And I'm going to ask, may I ask your help? Is that okay? I'm going to bring you forward. I'm going to hand you the marker. And I'll have you rise up. And what I'm going to do in a moment is ask individuals just to call out these numbers here. And I will just give you a random 3-digit number to put into that spot. How's that? So now I'm going to ask, if I may, please, what number would you like us to fill? What spot?
8.
Spot number 8. If you would, I'm going to ask you to put 504 in that spot. 504. Excellent, excellent. And now, please, what spot would you like?
7.
Number 7, I'm going to ask you, please, in number 7, if you will put 4, 6, 7. Excellent. And what spot would you like?
6.
Spot number 6. Very good. Spot number 6, if you put 410. And what spot would you like? 16, if you'll please put in 389. And what spot would you like? 1. Spot number 1, if you'll please put in there 566. And what spot would you like? 3. If you please put into spot 3686. And yes, all the way in the back. Yes, yes, yes. What spot would you like?
Number 2.
Number 2, if you put in 405. Excellent. And yes, what spot would you like? Spot number 5, we put in 587. And as long as we're at it, I'll speed this up just a tad. How about we put in here 311? And please, another 11. If we go over and you see, where is 11? There we go. If you'll please put into spot 11, 603. What spot would you like?
10.
Number 10, if you'll, there's 10, okay, if you'll please put into spot 10, 488. What spot would you like?
We'll go 12.
How about spot number 12? Let's put in 764. In spot number 12. Very good. And, yes.
13.
Number 13, let's put in, please, 702. We're getting there. We just have a couple spots left. So how about, Johnny, what spot would you like?
15.
15. Why don't we put in 15, 212? Just 2 spots. What spot would you like?
7.
Number 7. Why don't we put in number 7? 4, 6, 7.
Or 9, right?
Oh, number 9. I'm sorry, 9. Okay, yeah, because we already had that. Number 9, let's put in 113. And that leaves us number 14. So why don't we put in 14? How about 6? 6, 6, 5. How about that? Now, does someone have a cell phone? Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Now, before you get to your cell phone, I'm going to ask, over here, we selected a word from the magazine. Is that right? I don't want you to tell us your word. I am going to ask you, please, just to share out loud the first letter of your word. The first letter was?
H.
That's correct. Okay, very good. Now, what we're going to do is Very good. And now I'm going to ask if we can add, and you can write that right down here if you want, 1968. Perfect. Then can you add these across with your cell phone? Very good. We can put 1968 here. Thanks for your help. Thank you all. Then if we can add them diagonally down this way. In fact, what you'll find is they should all add up to 1968. Numbers we selected at random per your request. And before we started today, one of your colleagues wrote a date down, a year, on a piece of paper. Is that correct? Do you have your piece of paper? Would you please tell us what year you wrote down, unbeknownst to me or anyone else? What was your year?
1968.
Thank you. You selected a word at random from a magazine at random. Is that correct? Now, the word that you selected reminds us of something even more powerful. And this is very interesting because you selected a page that was selected at random from a magazine you selected at random. And I am seeing on that page in bold print there were 4 letters, not the word you selected, there were 4 letters. And the 4 letters that were at the top of the page connoted an article on ADHD. Is that correct? Yes. How appropriate. We'll talk about that later in the year. And you selected a word that reminds us how important it is when individuals have ADHD to intervene and treat, because if we don't, the condition can be H-A-R-T-B-R-E, heartbreakingly problematic. Is that correct? Thank you. You selected a day and a month at random. Is that correct? Do you remember what month and day you selected? Okay, can you tell us out loud what that was?
June 1st.
June 1st. June 1st. Now, a card was selected at random from a shuffled deck. Is that right? The card is face down on the table. We haven't seen it. You have a calendar. It has a rubber band around it. And I'd like you, please, to open that calendar up. You may remove the rubber band. I'll get it back when you're done. Yes. And I'm going to ask you, please, to open the calendar, just kind of go through it. What you'll notice, every day in that calendar has a card written in the box. Randomly, there are playing cards written throughout that calendar. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If you look at June 2nd, yes, you'll see a card written in the box for June 2nd. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's the card written there?
The 9 of spades.
9 of spades. Had you selected instead May 30th, what would the card have been?
The 8 of clubs.
8 of clubs. Had you selected May 31st, what would the card have been?
The 5 of hearts.
5 of hearts. However, you selected June 1st. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, please, to share out loud with us. What card is written in that square?
7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. A date picked completely at random. Cards written randomly into that calendar. A deck was shuffled in front of you all. You selected a card at random. We haven't seen it. Interesting. The date, June 1st. The 7 of clubs. would it not be a miracle? If the card were even a 7, it would be a miracle. If the card were merely a club, it would be a miracle. However, I think today, in honor of the induction of our first class into Sigma Sigma Phi, let's see what our card is. Would you please pick it up, show it to all. What is the card you selected at random? The 7 of clubs. Thank you all.